Hi there, it's Sam from Pootles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is this one. It is using the new Beauty of the Earth suite, which is just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. This is Mary Merlot cardstock and ink, and on here as well. But the paper in the background is this stunning, absolutely gorgeous paper. And I'm going to show it to you now because it's lovely. And you can get it from the 4th of May. So this paper is actually the reverse of what I used, which is this one here. Then we've got our trees, and that's the reverse. So we've got tree trunks. That's just gorgeous. And you split that along there and go that way, and you've got 6 gorgeous cards. Tree watercolour on the back. I really like this one. I love it with this misty moonlight in the back and the sort of clouds. That's very Andy from Toy Story, like his wall. That's lovely. So it's kind of an all seasons trees, obviously, you know. This is working with the, I just feel this is very much the Evening Evergreen, which is one of our new in colours. Just lovely. I do love that one. But yes, I'm working with this paper. And actually I'm going to work with the reverse. So while I prepare myself, I mentioned on Monday, are you a subscriber? And I thought I ought to confess, I'm actually aiming to get to 100,000 subscribers on my channel. So I'm less than 3,000 short of that. So please do subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. Okay, so I've got a piece of cardstock here. I'm going with the same colour as I did before because I want to see what it looks like with the reverse paper. So this is 11 inches long, 7.5 inches deep, which in metric is 28 to 19 centimetres. But please don't worry about thinking about, I've got to get my notebook out and write everything down. If you click open this description bar, you'll see lots of links there to my Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, where you can buy all of this stuff from, and also to my blog, where you can watch this video in the blog with all of the instructions alongside it. So, okay, when this is finished, this finishes up at 3¼ by 3¼ by 1 3/4 of an inch. So you could make 3 by 3 cards and pop them inside in metric 9 by 9 by 4.5 centimetres. So a great size, really good size. Okay, on this long side, score it at 3.5, 5.25, 8 3/4, and 10.5 inches. Which in metric is 9, 13.5, 22.5 and 28. Then on the short side, score it at 1 3/4, 5.25 and 7 inches. Which again in metric, and that doesn't feel like that's straight, that paper. I might just have to have a little trim. In metric, that's 4.5, 13.5 and 18 centimetres. I'm just going to, doesn't feel like that's completely straight. It is. That's weird. That one is. Oh no, that's a little bit wibbly. Oh well, that's just no good. We'll just trim it down a tiny little. Don't rush when you're cutting your cardstock. Okay, this does open at the top. Haven't opened it yet at the top for a very good reason, and I'm going to show you what not to do when I get to that point. But first up, burnish all your score lines. Mary Merlot is not a colour I grab very often. I think I've said it before, it's not stored with my other reds, it's stored with the other neutrals because it's part of the neutrals collection and I forget to remember to use it. Okay, so thin, wider, widest, wider. This is your top and we're going to keep that to the right hand side. So down at the bottom is very simple. Excuse me. Take away the smallest part, miter a tiny little bit and then just cut straight. Okay. At the top, we don't need those bits at all, or that little rectangle, or that long thin one. This one here we're going to keep. Okay, I'm going to keep that bit and that bit. We need to keep those whole. Don't do what I do, which was to go cut that way. So I'm going to now show you what we want it to do is that. I accidentally cut in the wrong direction. As you can see, I cut across like that. That's not what we want to do. We want to cut it straight down. So that's what's not to do. So let me tuck that away. So definitely get rid of those little thin bits. We don't need those at all. Okay. Straight down the rectangle and a tiny little mitre there and there. And take off that bit. Okay, keeping that. Go straight down in the same direction that you've done the bottom parts. Not what I did. So again, straight down the rectangle. Mitre into that little square a little bit, and this one. Hello Fauna, you're coming to help again. And then we're going to remove this one completely. We don't need that one at all. And trim off there. Just going to move those. Hold on to this bit, it's going to be useful later. Okay, so I'll come back to where I was before. So that was my thin section. This is what I'm left with. So I've got my 2 bits of designer series paper that I've cut to 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. Which, hello, you weren't meant to be here. You were meant to be sleeping. Did you wake up? You did. 8 1/2 by 8 1/2 centimetres, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches. And like I say, you can see it's the reverse of the one I used before. Equally lovely. Just that on there, and then my trusty tear and tape that I retrieved after she ran off with it in the other video. So I'm going to put a bit there, and I'm going to put a bit on both of these on the inside. So that's become the back. So fold those 2 sides in and stick down. That one, and then it will close nicely. Now I like to have boxes like this closing at the back. I prefer it than at the front because I just want this nice smooth look, but you could swap it around the other way if you wanted to. Okay, so let's do a little bit of die cutting. So we've got Beauty of Friendship, the stamp set, and you can do all of this beautiful layered stamping. I don't want to take away from the paper, so I'm just going to use the words, but I am going to die cut this big shape here. Now the paper that I originally used, which is this one. This lends itself very well to die cutting out that part. Perhaps not as well that one. Maybe, I haven't experimented yet, but it works very well if you die cut that section. But actually what I'm going to do is die cut here. So little mini cut and emboss. This thing is brilliant. If you haven't got one, get one. Seriously, I have never done as much die cutting as I have since getting this. I die cut all the time. It's convenient because it's little and diddy and it's here on my desk. Okay, so I've got my die and what's going to happen? What's going to happen, Mum? Is it coming out the other side? I put more intricate dies. I put them face up. The face is just off camera. But it just means I get a nice, clean, crisp cut through. She's so confused. Where did it go? It's come back. And There we go. I've just literally, you've watched me flick with my fingers and all the bits have come out. Easy peasy. Let's put that away. Okay. So I'm going to set that to one side, and I want the stamp set. So I want this one here. Friendship refreshes the soul. I think that's just a lovely thing to say. And so what I'm going to do, because I don't remember how big I cut it before, I'm going to measure up on my grid paper 2 1/4 inches by 1 1/4 inches, which in metric is 5 1/2 by about 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. That sort of size. So I'm going to take, can't see at all, the lights are reflecting, 1 1/4 by 2 1/4, and as it happens, yes, I do have this larger piece of Merry Merlot, but that was the bit I cut off before, and it's just the right size to do. Are you helping? Yes, you are, aren't you? 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 inches. My blade's caught on a bit of white. Let's do it that way, make life a bit easier for myself. So just a quarter of an inch larger on both sides. And I'm going to get a block that's big enough for me to see all the way around. My Merry Merlot ink. See, look, I still didn't cut that the right way. You know what? We're just going to get out the scissors and cut. Because life's too short sometimes. Okay, a couple of dimensionals on the back, and we can begin to get this finally put together. And that's the top and the back. So I'm lining this up on here. That on there. And this is going to hold that in place. That is my little gift box, which I think is lovely, and it will fit standard sized handmade soaps. So a lot of my friends are soap makers, and they make them with, and they cut them with a thing called a tank, and that cuts them to a particular size that's about 3 1/2 inches, which is perfect for these. So anyway, I hope you like my projects, and little Fauna coming to visit again. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. Help me get to that 100,000. Bye.